Zimbabwe imposes ban on exports of all raw materials and lithium concentrates. Bill Gates took responsibility over Epstein ties in staff meeting, foundation says. Iran denies U.S. claims, labels Trump's missile allegations big lies. Ukrainian attack on Russian fertilizer plant kills 7. Good afternoon. Welcome to The World in 30 Minutes on Politics and Business Television. I am Omike Joseph Matthew. Many thanks for joining us. Details of these stories and more will come your way right after this. Zimbabwe has suspended exports of all raw materials and lithium concentrates with immediate effect until further notice. Politi Kabumura, Minister of Mines and Mining Development, announced the move on Wednesday, saying it also applies to all minerals currently in transit. The government called the mining industry to cooperate, emphasizing that the measure has been taken in the national interest. The export ban on lithium concentrates had originally been scheduled to take effect on January 2027, a timeline intended to encourage mining companies to begin processing and refining the mineral locally. In a later address to Zimbabwe's Chamber of Mines, the ministry said export procedures would be realigned due to concerns about continued malpractices during the exportation of minerals. Zimbabwe holds Africa's largest lithium reserves, exporting 1.128 million metric tons of lithium-bearing spodumene concentrate in the year ending December 2025, up 11% from the previous year. Most of the concentrates is shipped to China for processing into battery-grade materials, but the government has been pushing miners to process more of the minerals domestically to reap greater benefits from the global shift to cleaner energy. Iran's foreign ministry on Wednesday dismissed U.S. claims about its missile program as big lies, following assertion by former President Donald Trump that Tehran was developing missiles capable of striking the United States. Ministry spokesman Ismail Bagui said on X that allegations regarding Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missiles, and casualty figures from January's unrest were simply the repetition of big lies. Bagui did not specify which claims he was addressing, but earlier Trump had stated that Iran was pursuing missiles that could reach American soil. In February, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi had told Al Jazeera that Tehran lacked the capability to target the U.S. directly, though it will strike American bases in the Middle East if provoked. During his State of the Union address, Trump also reiterated that Iran must never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon, accusing its leaders of again pursuing their sinister nuclear missions. Iran has consistently denied seeking nuclear arms while insisting on its right to peaceful nuclear technology. Trump additionally claimed that Iranian authorities the organization said. In a statement, the foundation noted that Gates spoke candidly, addressing several questions in detail. According to the Wall Street Journal, Gates apologized to staff and acknowledged having 2 affairs with Russian women, which Epstein later learned about. Regarding his interactions with Epstein, Gates said, "I did nothing illicit. I saw nothing illicit," and described spending time with Epstein as a huge mistake. The Microsoft co-founder has faced renewed scrutiny after the U.S. Department of Justice released files in January, though none of Epstein's victims have accused him of wrongdoing. Gates told the Wall Street Journal that he never spent time with Epstein's victims and explained that some images of him with women whose faces reacted into files were taken at Epstein's request by Gates and his assistants after the meeting. A Ukrainian Russian officials reported on Wednesday. The plant near the town of Dorogobych, about 290 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, was reportedly hit by at least 30 drones carrying explosives. Social media images showed the facility in flames, with smoke rising in the night sky. Rescuers managed to contain the fires by Wednesday morning, and authorities considered evacuating nearby residents for safety, according to Governor Anoklin. Russia's investigative committee confirmed the death toll, making it one of the deadliest attacks on a Russian industrial site since the war began in 2022. The plant had also been targeted in December last year. Ukraine also denies targeting civilians and did not immediately comment. Since the start of the conflict, Kyiv has launched thousands of drones into Russia, striking industrial sites, including oil and gas facilities. Retaliation for Russian strikes on its civilians and energy infrastructure that have killed hundreds and caused widespread destructions. You're still watching The World in 30 Minutes live on Politics and Business Television. Still to come, Israel forces and settlers attack Palestinians in Hebron, sparking fear and displacement. Do stay with us. You're welcome back. Tensions in the occupied West Bank escalated as Israeli forces and settlers carried out separate attacks of Kilbet Sosia in Masafer Yatta, south of Hebron. The assailants also set fire to 6 structures and a car, causing future damage to the community, local sources revealed to the media. Settler violence, often backed by the Israeli military, has forced many families to flee villages like Kilbet Sosia, leaving only about 30 families remaining. On Wednesday, settlers also targeted the home of a Palestinian man in Masafa, Benin, who is currently in Israeli detention, Wafa reported. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Israel for a 2-day visit, his first since the war in Gaza began. Modi is expected to address Israel's parliament, the Knesset, and hold meetings with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog. There is no meeting with Palestinian leaders on his schedule. The visit comes as both countries look to strengthen ties in defense, technology, and trade, a relationship that has grown significantly since Modi came to power more than a decade ago. Analysts, however, say the visits will also test India's foreign policy as it tries to balance its ties with Israel and other Middle East countries. In 2017, Modi became the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel. The trip was widely seen as a turning point in the relationship. The two countries work closely on counterterrorism and defense. India is also among the biggest buyers of Israeli arms. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called Modi's visit a historic one. Pope Leo XVI will visit 4 African countries in April, including Algeria, marking the first ever papal visit to the North African Muslim nation. The pontiff, elected last year, will travel to Algiers and a number from April 13 to 15. The visit is symbolic as Algeria is the birthplace of St. Austin and Pope Leo belongs to the Augustinian